If you have had a strong attachment to somebody and you're trying to manifest them back and you're wondering and you're waiting, or you've had a strong attachment to somebody that you're eager to disconnect from and move forward from, even if it's about detachment, this video is going to be full of pearls of wisdom for you. I'm going to take you on the journey that I have had and share the successes that I have experienced in order for you to replicate it in your own life, regardless of what outcome that you're actually looking for. Okay, because we need to do all of it in order to get to the end result anyway. If this is the first time that you're coming across my content, it is so good to have you here. If you're a returning viewer, again, it is so amazing to have you back again. My name is Gemma Lonsdale, and I am a prophet, a seer, a clairvoyant. People will attach any label to that. You choose what label fits you. I am here to help you create your most authentic, empowered, and faith filled life. Now, whenever I talk about faith, I talk about the faith that you have in yourself, but I also talk about the faith that you have in a higher power. I'll be talking about God, but if you use the term the universe or source, whatever it might be, then you use your term, okay? So it's going to be completely interchangeable as far as your hearing is concerned today. So, to take you back on my journey a little bit, I met someone on Tinder. We're going to call him Bob for the purpose of this video. So I met somebody on Tinder a very long time ago now, many years ago, and it was at the beginning of my spiritual path. So I was at the beginning stages of understanding my spiritual gifts, and I had met this guy. I was instantly attracted to him. I actually felt a soul connection upon entering his energy field. I felt this instant attraction to him, felt a tummy zap, which I've only had with about 4 different people in my life. So I felt this tummy zap, which made me think, oh gosh, he's my person. I just thought he was my person and he was the person that I was going to be with. Now, unfortunately, he wasn't as interested as what I was in him. And I tried to maintain the friendship, and I think a lot of us do that, don't we? We try to stay in the frame a little bit, stay close. Well, if they see how nice we are and how amazing we are, they just need time to see our greatness. And once they see that, then everything will be amazing. So I had done the thing where I stuck around a little bit and hoping that I'll just continue the friendship and then things will flourish. And what actually happened was, because he was studying here, he wasn't from here. He actually had went back home for Christmas, and he had then come back and said, okay, well, I'm actually going to get back with my ex-girlfriend, going to give things another go. So I thought, gosh, right, that's it. It's dead in the water. So I really had given up. And at that point, whenever I had given up, my connection, you will hear, if you follow me on TikTok, you'll hear me talking about Chester a lot. My connection to God is with Chester. So Chester is the person that comes in most prominently with me, that I can chat to. So we would have a back and forth dialogue. He shares information with me. He answers questions I have. He helps me understand life better, and he helps me to understand how to co-create and manifest and all of this stuff. He'll also give me predictions and prophecies, and that could be for a specific person. Bless you, Rosie, my little dog. That could be for a specific person, or it could be for the collective, or for the world. Okay, so a lot of the information that I get comes through Chester. He's the person, my spirit link, I would say, my God link. So he had then started to share information with me that actually this person, Bob, although he had went back with his ex-girlfriend, this wasn't permanent. And if I was patient, he was going to come back into my life, and he was going to be with me, or he was certainly going to come in with an offer of being with me. So I was thinking to myself, gosh, this is amazing. Like this, it'll just give him a few more months or a little bit more time, and everything will fall into place. I just need to be patient. The important thing as well to remember is that I was at the very beginning of my journey of developing my gifts. I was interpreting visions. I was learning to interpret what I was being given and understand what was symbolism, what was going to happen, fast and hard. I was learning how to trust, not just in the information that I was being given, but in God and that higher power, because I had never had that growing up. I'd never had a life of faith as a child, or even a teenager, or as a young adult. So I was learning all of this and really honing my skills. But you know what? I was a good student. I was hungry to learn. And the things that I had been getting at that particular time, like I was getting things for other people. I was starting to do readings and, private sessions with people. And a lot of it was really profound. So I had no reason to doubt what Chester was telling me. So I was thinking to myself, oh, well, this is all going to happen pretty quickly. I just need to be patient. Now, what actually happened, and I want to share with you how I actually got on to manifesting and how my connection with God actually helped this. You do not need to have a connection where you're being fed information, by the way. That isn't an important part of this journey. But I want to help you understand how you can actually co create and what the important things are in order for that to happen. So, on my journey, Chester was feeding me things that were going to happen. Okay. So, he would have been sharing with me things about Bob that, oh, you're going to meet him in the park, or he's going to get in touch, he's going to this. So, during all of this, I was thinking to myself, gosh, this is going to happen like immediately. I had no concept of how things worked in the land of faith and God and the messages that he would give me. At that time, I thought, well, if I'm being told something, this is going to happen like in a week. So I would have been waiting for, to bump into him at the park, or for to hear from him, or whatever it might be. So it was a very, very interesting path. The interesting thing is that what Chester was doing was he was helping me learn how to co-create. He was helping me learn how to manifest. And he was also helping me to learn how to have faith in God whenever logic didn't exist, okay? Whenever logically things weren't lining up. So he was sharing with me all of this information about this man, that all of these different things were going to happen, and I'm going to be very specific and give you the list as well here, and we can tick off where we've got to. But he was giving me all of this information, and whenever I was just receiving those messages, what it enabled me to do, it acted as a prompt for me to actually start to manifest this. And by manifesting, I mean visualize. And I would have felt into this energy, imagined what it was like. I would have seen it playing out. The part that I wasn't very good at that point was I wasn't very good at detaching. What I was doing was I was using this information that he was giving me, and I was putting too much energy into it, and it was really strangling, the manifestation. So, like a plant, when we think of a plant, we need to water that plant. So manifesting or co-creating, whatever term you want to create to use, whenever we have that happening, we do need to give it energy. We do need to give it thought, just like we have to water a plant. I have a little bonsai tree that's sitting next to me. So we need to water that plant. But what happens if we give the plant too much water, or we keep it in a pot that isn't, big enough for itself? Well, it's going to have a real detrimental impact. So whenever you're giving your energy too much to a manifestation, you're thinking about it too much and you're clinging to it and you're constantly letting that run through your mind, it's acting like a pot that's too small, that is strangling the roots of that plant and not allowing it to flourish. And whenever you're giving it too much thought, you're overwatering it. So the roots are going to start to rot before long. Okay. So it's really important to, I suppose, just understand that we need to be cautious about how much time and energy we do give to our manifestations. So that was really how I was manifesting. That was the primary way I was visualizing and I was feeling into these situations. Now, contrary to logic, this guy, Bob, moved away. He moved back home. And I mean, he was from another continent. Think, far side of the US, Mexico. I'm in England, okay? So to me, I'm thinking, well, I was very confused and it really called my faith into question. And it was a very challenging time for me because I was being told all of this information. But the logic of it was, well, he's not even in the same country as me anymore. So how is this going to happen? And I had thought to myself, I'd been lied to. And, whenever you start to manifest something and logic defies, the manifestation, that's a really important time for you to keep the faith and for the trust that actually what you're manifesting, God will find a way. The universe will find a way to make that happen. If it's supposed to be the thing that you're getting, the universe will find a way because your manifestation is always going to come to fruition in some shape or form. God always delivers on his promises. Okay. So it's always going to come to fruition in some shape or form. It may not be exactly as you had hoped, but it will always come. So, there's a couple of things that are really important in terms of what I have learned from Chester when it comes to trying to manifest and co create. One of them is that things do not happen on the timeline that we want them to, ever. Sometimes they will, but usually there is a delay and it's there for a purpose. So if you're thinking, well, I'm going to manifest this, I'm going to manifest it to happen in a week, it's going to be very, very challenging to do because that's one thing that you don't have any control over. The manifestation and the co creating will always happen on God's terms. It will happen when the universe decides that it's time because everything is interconnected. Okay. So everything has to happen at a time that is ready for us. If we don't learn how to detach, as I was talking about that plant, we are delaying things. We will smother our co-creation. We may even put it out. We may dampen it completely. The human mind needs to see logic. God doesn't need logic. In fact, God will bring things to you in a way that defy logic. Whenever we see the thing manifesting, you might be thinking to yourself, well, I'm going to manifest myself the perfect partner, a horse, or whatever it might be. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, let's take a house, okay? You might be thinking to yourself, I'm going to manifest a house. However, I don't earn enough to get a mortgage for that size of house. So I'll probably have to move to a smaller house first and then do this, or I'll have to meet somebody. So your mind is trying to logically come up with all of these scenarios of how this manifestation is going to happen. And what I want to say to you now with that is stop. That it's pointless in doing that. Whenever you are manifesting something and you're co-creating your reality, God will bring things to you in a way that defy logic. And that could be a lottery win. It could be that some distant relative has just left you, enough money or the house in their will. Things will come to you in ways that just defy logic. You may enter a competition and win a big, large house. You just don't know. Okay. So don't try to think of how it's all going to fit together logically. Your job is to learn to have faith and to trust that things will come to you in the way that the universe or God is intending for them to come to you. Okay. So it's really important to detach. And also just knowing that you will always get what you've asked for in some shape or form. I was asking the other week, in fact, I just had this thought, this desire for some lavender tea. I really wanted lavender tea. It kept coming into my mind. And a friend of mine had then messaged a few days later and she'd said, oh, I've been gifted this lavender bath set and perfume set, but I don't really like lavender. Do you like lavender, Gemma? And I was like, gosh, all I've been wanting is some lavender tea. So I got the lavender, but it was in a different format. So God will always bring you the things that you're asking for. Okay. Now, I have got a list here of the things that I had been told by God, by Chester, of what would happen within this connection. Okay, and I'm gonna put the list together. So I was told that he would have another girlfriend with dark hair, but it wouldn't last. I was told that he would move back to the UK. I was told that he would come back at Easter. I was told that he would have a complete change of career. I was told I would meet him in the park. I'd meet him in a bar or in a socially active place. I was hearing loud music and drinks. I was told he would send me a love letter or a card. I was told that he would be in my house. He would propose. He would buy us a house, and I was being shown a baby boy. So, those are the things that I was told would happen within this connection. Okay. So, it's really important to realize that at this time, I was thinking that my future happiness depended on this person. And I know that a lot of you will be in the same position where you just want the person, you just want them back, or you want to keep them in some way. Some of you might be feeling to yourselves that, no, I don't want that. I'm ready to move forward. I have more self respect and whatever else. At the time in my life where I really wanted the person. I really thought that my happiness depended on them coming back. And really, what was happening in this process, and it'll be a really good thing for you to reflect on as well, that person or that situation was reflecting back on me those feelings that I had of not feeling enough and not feeling worthy and needing to be somebody better in order for them to be interested in me. Now, the very first time that I sat down with this guy, whenever we met on Tinder, I actually had the thought in my head of who do I need to be in order to get a man like this? I remember that clear as day. And I actually realize now in reflection that God took that as a challenge. I think He took it as a challenge because what then came after that was so incredibly transformative. But it's very important for you to be aware that I had that thought, and that thought, although I was saying, who do I have to be in order to get a guy like this? What God was hearing was, she wants to be better in order to feel more confident and more on the same level of a high caliber man. Okay. So let's get her there. That was what God was hearing from me. Let's help her transform. Let's help her become more confident and more whole within who she is. So he probably wasn't even thinking, let's get her a man. He was just thinking, let's make her more confident and more whole. Let's get her to the best version of herself that we can possibly get her to. So your thoughts matter. Every single thought that you have matters. So if you're trying to visualize things and you're trying to co-create in any area of your life and you're getting little doubts in, or you're thinking, oh, I would love to create this house, and you visualize yourself walking around it, and then you think to yourself, but I'm just not good enough for a house like that, or it'll never happen for me. Things like that don't happen to people like me. Pay attention to those thoughts, okay? So it's really, really important. Now, I obviously was going through this journey from a place of lack, as I mentioned, and I actually didn't realize until I was a little bit further down the path that the journey with him, meeting him, and that journey that I was undertaking and doing all of this manifesting, it was my greatest gift, because actually what was happening in those periods was I was learning to heal myself. So you might find that you're manifesting, but what actually has to happen in order for your manifestation to come to fruition? You have to be on the same vibration as that thing. You have to feel worthy. You have to be in the right place. You have to have healed some of the old wounds. It's not just about it's not just about going and manifesting something and feeling like you have it and not being it. You have to feel that you're worthy. So that is going to probably take a little bit of healing and a little bit of self focus. So in that process, I was focusing on myself and feeling all of the pain of being triggered. And actually, I was doing the healing work. So it's really important to think to yourself that actually, yes, we're geared towards having that instant gratification. Okay. Like we all want to just have the thing, don't we? We don't want to have to wait. We don't want to have to do the healing work. We just want what we want. We want the person. Just give us the person, God, and I will be happy. The challenge is that it's our ego talking. Whenever we want the things like that, we're coming from an ego perspective, we're coming from a lack perspective. So that person or situation is reflecting back on us, the things that we're lacking within ourselves. And what it's really trying to get you to do is to feel the pain and feel the discomfort of not having what you want. So you will do the work that you need to do internally in order to get what you want. Okay. And we often don't change without feeling that pain and discomfort. So it's a really important thing to be aware of. Whenever you're feeling like, the universe is punishing you, and this heartbreak and this pain that you're feeling, and how you're feeling like you're not enough, or who do you need to be in order to attract this person back, you were being taught how to heal yourself. You were being shown what wounds need to be healed. And it's not a wound probably that this person or this situation has caused. What they're doing here at this point in time is they're triggering that. If you have a paper cut, you might not notice it on your finger, but as soon as you stick your finger into some vinegar, or you get a bit of salt on it from your chips or whatever it might be, that is going to hurt like hell. Okay. So all of a sudden you're aware that, oh, I've got that paper cut on my finger. It was something that hadn't healed and I wasn't aware of it. That's the exact same as what this person is doing. They're really reflecting back on you a wound that is probably not even in your conscious mind, in order to draw attention to it, to help you do the work that is required to nourish it and recover from it. Okay. So it's it's an opportunity for you to self-question. It's an opportunity for you to self-reflect, really, and ask yourself some deeper questions and learn how to nourish yourself better. Because really, where we want you to be, where the universe wants us to be, where God wants us to be, is that we are fully whole and self-sufficient in ourselves emotionally. That we don't have to have an attachment to a specific person or a specific outcome in order to feel worthy. Your worthiness is not dependent on another person. Okay, so you need to learn how to fill your own cup. That is part of this journey, and this is part of the process that you're being brought on. You're being given the chance to learn how to do that. So it's very easy to say that, you know once something looks rosy to us, it looks amazing, and we think that that's what we want. As time moves on and we do the work on ourselves and we change and evolve as a person, we go through this transformation. What once looked rosy maybe doesn't look so rosy anymore. And I would be pretty sure that you would have had similar situations to this in your romantic life. If you've had connections or attractions to people that you think back on now and you think, gosh, what did I ever see in them? Or you maybe had a friend that you were very, very close, and all of a sudden, you went on separate paths, and you look back now and you think, gosh, I don't know how we were so close at that time. I would never want to be friends with them now. It is because you have evolved. That person is coming in to play their part on the unhealed part of your path. And that doesn't mean that they won't circle back round. But often the things that we find rosy, it's because the unhealed parts of us are attracted to that thing or that person. And actually, once we evolve and we move forward, we focus on ourselves, we heal more, they become just less appealing to us. So we can't necessarily see those things happening. And it could be a case of, God sees the higher power and he sees how everything is going to unfurl. I talk about it as we're the rats in a maze, and we can't see even what's around the corner, really. Like, we can't. We want things to happen, but we can't necessarily see where things are going to take us. But God can. So if things are being delayed, there's a reason why they're being delayed. It isn't always that that person isn't meant for you. It's maybe meant to delay it because there's some work that has to be done, or maybe you're being redirected to somebody else. We won't always know the answers. So that's where the faith and having that trust is really important and can really transform your path. But it also raises the question as well. Now, whenever I had this journey with this person, I was so focused on the outcome. I just wanted to have them. But actually, they weren't the prize. And I want you to realize that about yourself as well. You know, they were not the prize in your life either. You are deserving of somebody that chooses you fully and without question. Okay. You are, you know, you should not be relying on somebody else to validate your worth. You were already an amazing person. You were so full of self worth, so full of self value. You just need to tap into that and learn how to connect in with yourself more deeply and nourish yourself in more ways. Your healing is the prize here as well. It's not about getting them back, because actually, once you focus on yourself and you put all of your energy and effort into yourself rather than nourishing the connection with them, which is what I had done for a very long time with my manifesting and taking information from Chester, I feel like I was led into the fire in order to experience this, in order to learn how to detach, how to overcome, and how to do the work, because this is part of what I was being brought in to teach everybody how to do. So, whenever you focus on you and you take the focus off the other person, you really empower yourself. It's going to have such a transformational impact on your own life. And what you will probably realize is that you get to a point on your path where you've been manifesting them, and all of a sudden you're like, actually, I don't even know if I want them anymore. Like, I feel, so distant from them. They're not really what I want. I want to manifest something different. I want something better. So it's really important to recognize that you are the prize. You were always going to be the prize. Your healing, your transformation is the prize here, not this person. And you may not see that right now, but I'm pretty sure that you will at some stage on your journey, and you will soon realize that actually you're in a better place. You're being redirected to something better if they don't actually come back round. And even if they do, your healing and the inner work that you have done is still the prize. And how you feel about yourself is the reward for you. Now, being indifferent to whether your manifestation comes in or doesn't come in is actually a really important part in bringing things together. If you feel still too clingy, or you start to feel like, oh, this is, triggering me even more, I can't be in the same room as them, I can't think of this, that is going to cause the manifestation to probably not come to fruition either. So it's really important that you feel indifferent. You're happy without. Doesn't matter. Doesn't make any difference. If it never happens, then you're fine. That is going to bring it in much quicker for you. And it's actually a very powerful place to be as a person as well. And also, you do not need to be extra nice or amiable or do backflips or anything like that in order for a person to notice you. Your fierceness, your rawness, your authenticity is what will attract the right people to you. So focus on being the best version of you. The right people will just flock to you. The right people will always flock to you whenever you're just being the best version of you. So that is really the sort of things that I've learned on my journey. And Chester, I just see him stood next to me here. He's just said, like, yes, that's everything. Everything is checked off the list there. Now, I wanted to share with you, because I've always prided myself in being accurate. I've just knocked my camera there. I've always really prided myself in my accuracy. I have read for some phenomenal names in the world, some phenomenal people. I've got like my client base was I had so many people used to come back time and time again to sit with me and to hear my words, and my accuracy is something that I've always really prided myself on. That is the accuracy in terms of the spiritual guidance that I brought through for that person, but also in terms of the predictions as well that I really brought through. So I wanted to talk about what has transpired here so far, because I really, it had me questioning myself for a significant period of time. So the things that have come together so far, and it's come through in a very different way to what I expected. It's definitely not come through in the way that I ever expected that it would. And in the information that Chester had given me, and I get a lot of dreams as well. I get very vivid dreams every night. And often I get the things in the dream, and then I'll get the information through from Chester as well, or I'll see things how they're going to play out, maybe just before they do. So I was told that he would have another girlfriend with dark hair and it wouldn't last. And I'd actually seen in a dream the picture change on social media, and that happened. I also had been told by Chester that this guy would move back to the UK, and I had started to dream about that at the end of 2024. Keep in mind this has went on for years now, so I've sort of, I've like moved on, like this is done. So I dreamt that he was moving back to the UK, and it was start of January that I had that confirmed. And I was told that he would come back at Easter. And this, I guess, is where the ambiguity and everything comes in as well. I was told that he was coming back on Easter, and I was told that I'd meet him in the park. Now, I was told it was back in 2021 or 2022, I think it was, that I was told he was coming back at Easter. I was thinking, well, I'm being told Easter, it must be this Easter, must be like instantly, but it didn't happen at that Easter. So again, I was questioning God, I was questioning the information, and I'm thinking, gosh, am I being fooled here? Am I not accurate? And what actually happened was, now we're in 2025, we're on the 29th of April now, whenever I'm recording this. Easter was just over a week ago, Easter Sunday, and I'd actually met a friend for some drinks in a city local to me, the city actually where he had went to university. And I had actually thought, if anything, I was probably going to end up bumping into him then, and I was feeling a bit nervous about that because I knew that he was living back here and everything now, and to me that book is closed. I really just wanted to move on and forget about it. And what actually happened was I had taken this, quite a funny story. It's funny, I'll share it with you. So I'd had a dream about someone in a red jacket that I was trying to get away from. That was like 4 nights ago. And then 2 days ago, I wasn't really feeling up to much, actually. I wasn't feeling my best self, and the dog needed to go for a walk. It was a Sunday after Easter. The kids were still off school. The park was chock a block. They had, fun fairs and things in the park for the kids. And I thought to myself, gosh, I'll just put on a pair of leggings. And I took a t-shirt off the radiator that had been drying, that hadn't even been ironed or anything. And I know, obviously, yes, I'm very crisp whenever I appear, and I am crisp most of the time, but on this occasion I wasn't. Now, I didn't have any makeup on or anything like that, tied my hair back, put this crinkly t-shirt on. I thought I'll just take the dog for a quick walk. And I was thinking to myself as I was getting dressed, what if I bump into the man of my dreams in the park? And I thought, no, he'll just love me with my crinkly t-shirt and everything. It'll be fine. So off I went, and I was walking along the park, and I suddenly started to think to myself, gosh, how we're taught to manifest isn't what happens. Like, what we're taught to manifest and what Chester has been teaching me, it isn't about just imagining that you have it and then it'll come. It's about doing the healing work and getting yourself to the place where it doesn't even matter if you have it. That's the true essence of manifestation. So I had this thought in my head, and I'm walking along, and a few strides later, I look up, and across the path, the guy that was looking straight down that way, so he was sort of like walking towards me but over a bit, and keep in mind the park was busy, and it was Bob was in the park. So we met in the park, and it was the Easter week. And the weird thing was that I'd had the dream about the red jacket. He was wearing a red baseball cap. For context, whenever I see colour in a dream or a vision, it is normally important in some way. I just wasn't sure what the importance was of the red that I was seeing in the dream. So it's the same if I dream about it and I see colour, the color is important. If I see color in a vision that I receive in my waking life, um Chester is just showing me, for example, he's got a dicky bow on and it's bright red. So I can see the colour very, very vividly. So it usually is important. And he said he wore this previously, so there must have been something where he had worn a red dicky bow or like a bow tie. So whenever I see the colour, it's relevant. I was thinking, oh, is it red for passion? I didn't know who the guy was that I was trying to get away from in the dream. I just knew that they had dark hair and the red jacket. But the red was relevant because he was wearing the red baseball cap in the park whenever I seen him. And I don't know that he actually seen me. I just put my head down. I didn't really feel like I wanted to engage. And I think it was a really good opportunity for me to be able to reflect back and see how far I have come on my own healing journey. And I've become so detached that I don't even want it anymore. Okay. So, although the manifestation and the things that I have been told have been playing out, and it has taken a long time, it has really tested my faith. I'm now in a place where I actually am hoping that God will bring it about in a different way or with a different person. And I'm open to whatever happens here. I must admit, I am open to whatever God brings me in. But what once looked rosy to me, now that I have evolved and I have transformed and really focused on my own healing journey, doesn't look too appealing anymore. And this isn't because Bob is a terrible person. Bob is probably a lovely person, maybe similar to some of the people that you are trying to attract into your life. They're probably lovely people, but that doesn't mean that they have treated you the way that you deserve to be treated, or that doesn't mean that the energy is right for the connection. So the best way to manifest somebody is through your visualizations and is through trusting, but also by detaching. And the best way to move on from a connection that you no longer want to be entangled in is by doing the detachment. Manifest something different. Manifest you leaving them. Manifest the detachment. And actually focus on yourself. Always put yourself center. You want to decentralize everybody else in your life. Always put yourself first, because the effort and the energy that you put into your own path and your own development will never ever go to waste, ever in a million years. So focus on you, and everything else will come to fruition exactly how it should. One thing that I am really being told to tell you now is not to be discouraged whenever your manifestation doesn't come instant, and also learn to trust and have a bit more faith. Not everything worth having is going to come to you instantly. There is a divine timing and a divine order, and if God is going to put the effort in order to bring something to you, He wants to make sure that you're in the right place in order to accept that thing or to accept a good replacement. Okay? So take that on to your heart and take those words of wisdom and those tips and tricks and put them into play in your own life, because that will transform your life. It will be completely transformative in your life. So I don't really know how it's all going to play out in the co-creation, whether there's still a baby on the cards with this man. I feel like I'm excited about a new opportunity and moving forward to have all of this come about with somebody that is more in line with my energy now. That would be my preference. I'm feeling really excited about that. And actually, whenever I seen Bob in the park, and Bob isn't his real name, I'm surprised that I haven't used something different. Whenever I seen Bob in the park, I was a bit gobsmacked, first of all, that he actually is back and I have bumped into him. And I also realized that actually his energy was repelling me a little bit. And as much as I have healed and I've come a long way, I probably still have a little bit of work to do there to become completely indifferent. But although I haven't maybe displayed being completely indifferent, I definitely know that I'm moving forward, and I've had that validation through that, which has been exciting because I still feel really excited about the other things that are coming up in my life. And you will always get the best. You will get more than what you deserve if you have faith and stop clinging to the things that aren't for you or that are delayed. And you don't need to know. I know that we often, and this is one of the challenges that I have with a lot of my clients as well, this needing to know or wanting to know what's going to happen or needing to see the outcome and how things play out. Get yourself to a place where you're okay with the not knowing, because whenever you become okay with the not knowing, that is when the most amazing surprises will come onto your path, and you will be delighted in ways that you couldn't even comprehend. Things will come to you that defy the logical mind, and you will be overjoyed with how things turn out if only you let a higher power take over and stop trying to force things or hold on to things or move at a pace that isn't right for that energy. Everything will come in time. So I hope that that has been really helpful for you. I have a program, Rise and Thrive, which would probably be a very good fit for anyone that is really eager to pour into themselves right now and step into their most empowered, most authentic version. I'm going to pin the link below so you can check out that. It is a 12-week course, but we meet every 2 weeks during that 12-week program. And you can see all of the things that we're going to cover on there as well. I also have a masterclass workshop that I'm actually doing on self-trust as well, so you can check that out. I'll make sure that all of my links are below. If you want more content from me, I am on the other social channels, TikTok, Instagram. I've just rejoined Facebook recently as well, so you can come and access those channels with me. I've got my podcast, my historic podcast, 4 years of healing and spirituality, which is The Happy Psychic. You can check out that. And also my book, Wisdom Proverbs for Today. You can buy this book on Amazon. It's hardback, softback, and also it is on Kindle. And if you are you can get it on Kindle Unlimited. I think, I don't know if that's like an extra charge or if it comes with Amazon Prime, but it is available with Kindle Unlimited as well. And this is really just wisdom and guidance that has been channeled through from God, like God given, really, that is a new take on how we live our lives today and how we can get the most out of our lives today. And people have said that it's been really helpful for them whenever they've had some challenging periods in their life too. So have a look at that, check that out, check out the other social media channels, and it has been so good to hear from you today. I'm so pleased to have you here. If you want to chat more, put something in the comments. I always come back to the comments that people post on my video. If you have any questions about any of the programs or anything like that that I'm running, check out the comments, or you can drop me an email, and I will look forward to connecting with you more deeply.